Buying to the welcome you.
Hello everybody, I think we are live. Sorry, I'm just a little bit late. I had been on the deck looking at what I could see. There wasn't all that much out there today, but there was a flock of dunlins which I looked at a little bit, but I had scrambled out there to look at a northern harrier, hoping I could see it up close in flight. But by the time I had been able to get my tripod out and get in place, harrier was gone. And then later on, a male harrier was flying by, but unfortunately I didn't get a very good look because between the wind and the people walking on the deck, everything was shaking, so I didn't get a good look at that. But I've seen at least 3 northern harriers today, two females or juveniles and a male. I've also seen a bald eagle, at least 1, maybe 2, I'm not sure. And I saw very briefly a great blue heron. I may have seen a red-winged blackbird. And some ducks flying around here and there, gulls flying around here and there. I didn't get to identify any of them specifically, and a number of Canada geese. It is in the upper 50s. My car's thermometer reads 57 at the moment. I don't know if it's really that warm or not. It's on the breezy side. But overall, so far, so good. Maybe I shouldn't have said that to jinx anything. But we're here. Welcome to Montezuma. And we're going to do our best to see things here today. Uh-oh. Okay. I don't know if many people are tuned in. I forgot about the... well, I tried to set up an event for today, hoping that people would receive it at 11, notifying everyone of 12 o'clock start. I don't know if people are receiving notifications from YouTube. I'm not sure how well that's working. Maybe not too well, maybe very well. I really don't know. Oh, I also saw some pigeons. A number of them, I didn't count them. Saw a few red-tailed hawks on my way up here. Good to see. I only point that out. I mean, it doesn't mean anything in terms of our visit here. But, sometimes there are days when I don't see any hawks anywhere. Well, I'm not talking about even on the tour, but like just, my own regular travels. And then there are other times a year where it's like there are hawks all over the place. When I arrived at the visitor center, I was surprised by how many cars there were there. I mean, maybe, if not the most I've ever seen, close to it. And, hold on. Oh, shoot. just saw a couple pied-billed grebes. And I was wondering what's going on, and it seemed like I guess there was some kind of a meeting or event inside the visitor center. And that was ending at about noon. So I think that's probably ended by now. It seemed to be breaking up. I don't know what it was about, to be honest with you. Unfortunately, maybe as a result of that meeting, there were, the people I would ordinarily see at the desk were not there. Up ahead in the air, I see. Okay, somehow they look large, but they're 3 gulls that were just flying in. Okay. But anyway, I didn't get to speak with anyone inside to see if, and the meeting hadn't quite broken up yet, or it was in the process, but I didn't get to talk to anybody inside to see if there's anything special going on in terms of bird activity. I like to see if there is anything like that they know of. Sometimes it can be helpful. If they give us a heads up as to, something special in the area. With that meeting, I think pretty much broken up by now. Maybe, you wonder if everybody, or most, or many of the participants in the meeting are now going to be out here on Wildlife Drive. That's certainly a possibility. I see something to our right. Number of ducks of some sort. I don't know what they are just yet. Well, I see a common gallinule, a young one. I see a number of I don't know. As I said before, I'm no expert on bird identification. Not sure if any of these are gadwalls or not. Unfortunately, and I need to see color. Sometimes shape isn't good enough for me. In fact, usually. But the camera's not showing the colors very well, just because of how they're lit. And the binoculars don't quite magnify quite so well. Let me look again with binoculars, maybe I can tell. I believe at least some of them are gadwalls. Now, shoot, I think I've got vegetation in the way. There's another grouping of ducks. I don't think I'm going to be able to get them now. They were over here. Maybe more gadwalls, but that was the area where I did see the oh, harrier. that had been the area where I did see the common gallinule. Back where we were looking just a moment ago. And not now. Okay, close the other window. With the frequent breeze here today, I'm going to have to, make sure I keep only, for the most part, one window open at a time. Otherwise we get the the cross breezes, and that makes for windier conditions here in the car, which may not bother me so much, but when you get wind blowing on the microphone, that's not the... Hold on, I've got wires that are tangled up already. Oh, maybe not. Here, a Canada goose vocalizing. I think we'll stop here for a moment. Let me look around with binoculars, see if there's anything. Maybe I shouldn't have stopped the car. I see an American coot. Make it 2, 3. Make it 10 or 11, and I also see a pied-billed grebe or 2. Well, a number of coots, I don't know how many. Couple mallards. Let's take a quick look this way anyway. Here are the mallards. And I believe I just heard a gadwall. And here are some of the coots, and actually that may be a pied-billed grebe there, I'm not sure. Maybe not. Nope, maybe not. That was, I believe, it just dove. Grebe there, pied-billed grebe. As I said, it's kind of windy today. Windy, breezy. Keeping my fingers crossed because I had the forecast yesterday looked really not so good, and but so far today not so bad, and the forecast seemed to improve overnight. Most of these birds that we're seeing here in the water seem to be American coots. And just as a reminder, American coots are not ducks, although they look a lot like, some kind of a duck, but they're not ducks. But way there, you can see there with the American coots, looking a little different. There's a white near the near its tail. That is an American widgeon. And we often see American widgeons with the coots. And as I've mentioned, the widgeons, oh, a lot of ducks in the distance. The widgeons, you know, like to spend time near the American coots because the widgeons take advantage of any, you know, some of the vegetation that the coots stir up or bring up, and the you know, the widgeons eat it. Well in the distance, or at least relative to this position here, you can see, and we may try to get a better look at them than this camera, but maybe once we're up farther ahead, you can see quite a few ducks there. We've seen larger flocks, but, you know, still, those are significant numbers there. All right, I think we're going to move on. I'm not going to switch cameras just yet. Let's move forward. Oh, harrier. On the right side of the road. Oh, wrong window. Come on, Ferris. Did it just land there? Let me set you down 1 second. Oh, look at the horse. Well, if it did land, I don't see it. I certainly don't see it flying around either. Really, the northern harrier has become a favorite of mine. I really love seeing them, recording them if possible. Love how they fly. And, you know, my goal is always, one of these days I'd love to get you know, just be in the right, perfect place, right setup and everything to have a super, you know, a super look at them in flight, and then maybe even better once it's landed. That's what I want. But we don't always get what we want. Anyway. You know, I think we'll pause here, and just in case we have a hard time up ahead looking at that large flock of ducks. I don't have a good view of all of them from here, but there's a break in the vegetation, and just in case we don't get a good look up ahead, we'll take advantage of this look now while we're here. Okay. Okay, and we do have some vegetation in the way. We're going to have to deal with it. So that's an American coot right there in the center. And that looks like an American, I think that's an American widgeon. Although I'm not sure. I'm going to brighten it up a little bit. Back a little bit farther back. More coots. That looks like there may be some ring-necked ducks back there. Definitely some, those are widgeons there swimming. Everybody's got their head down. Not, you know what I haven't seen today? I haven't seen a lot of Canada geese flying around in flocks here and there. I just haven't seen that. That is a ring-necked duck there, I believe, swimming from right to left. Is that, what is that back there? That looks like a redhead there, I think. Okay, let's try to get clear of some of the vegetation in terms of what's nearby. We're going to struggle from here. I mean, this is, you know, we're looking a long distance away, you know, no matter what you do. It's a redhead in the foreground there, for instance. Obviously, I'm not identifying every single duck. Again, that's a widgeon there. I wonder if we have some scops out there. It's hard for me to tell. I think, for instance, I think that's a scaup there that just, you know, kind of rose above the water. They can be difficult to discern from ring-necked ducks, the males. But with the ring-necked duck, there's like a, I don't know how to describe it, there's like a, in terms of the white on its side, there's like a, towards the front of the body, it rises up in like a spar or a spike. And you don't see that with those out there, so maybe those are scaups. That's if you can't see the head and you can see, you know, the bill helps me with a ring-necked duck. But if you can't see that, you know, you rely on whatever other clues you have. I'm just doing, you know, I want to take a quick look as best we can, and then maybe we'll move on shortly, and maybe get a better look from another location. I don't know. I don't always, you know, look at every bit of footage I record in a given, on a given tour day later on, but sometimes I'll look at some of the footage like this where we're looking over, you know, a large area with many birds, and you know, sometimes I'll notice a species or something that I hadn't originally noticed. I mean, is that a ruddy duck there? I don't, maybe not. Probably not. It's too large. Now that white body there on the, I think that's a, is that a whitish body with a reddish head? It's hard to tell. I wonder if that is actually a canvasback. I think it might be. And now we have, between the distance and the vegetation, it's hard to tell, but I believe that is. That's a gadwall right there. And that's definitely a gadwall right there. Center screen. American widget. You see on the red head right there, yes, the head is red, but the sides are gray, not white. The canvasback has a, you know, much brighter, whiter sides. Now if you're, that might be a ruddy duck way out there. Roughly the center of the screen, that might be a ruddy duck. It's a smaller duck than many of these other species. Where was it? I would guess it is. I'm not sure, but I'm thinking it is. Another reason is notice the tail points up. Sometimes I think that's something that's a feature of ruddy ducks. They have tails that point distinctly upward. More ruddy ducks, I believe, out there. I think that's what they are. Yeah, they're definitely ruddy ducks, way out there. Cute little ducks. Just a few more moments of this and then we're going to move on. You know, I realize that when we're looking over ducks like this, sometimes it can be boring to people, and I admit it's not the most exciting thing, but sometimes, you know, I'm looking over it, you never know what we'll see in terms of, you know, maybe one species or another. See, that looks like a canvas back there with the brighter sides, but the head is tucked down, so you can't really see its head. It looked reddish, but, you know, as opposed to the red of a redhead and the gray sides. Okay, we're starting to get into an area where the vegetation's really getting in the way. So there are a few other ducks that are closer, or I think they're ducks. Looks like maybe widgeons. That's a gadwall there. No, that's a widgeon. Okay, let's move on. I'm going to leave everything in place for now. Okay? Okay. Wait, hold on one second. I see a great blue heron in the air, just flying by. Hold on a second. What is going on here? I'll tell you, I don't know who's at fault. Might be my car, might be Apple, but I think it's my car. I turn on the car and it starts connecting and playing things automatically that I didn't tell it to play. It's very annoying. I mean, it turned on the audio. I had turned off the audio completely. We've probably seen most of these already in one way or another, so I think we're just gonna. Well, no, I am brightening it up a bit. I'm brightening it up a little less. So here's a better. This may be the best look we've had so far at an American widgeon of the day. You know, if you're used to seeing only, mallard ducks, mallards, obviously that's a very unique looking duck. As I've mentioned on a number of occasions, my first visits up here. Oh, was that what I thought it was? That may have been a bufflehead. Yeah, that's a bufflehead right there. That looks like a female bufflehead. Hi, baby. Hey. I may be wrong. Swimming, that looks like a female canvasback, judging by the shape of its head. See, this is why, you look at the flocks, you never know what you'll see. There's that bufflehead again, the female. Hey, they're difficult for me because they're always diving. Some ducks do a lot of diving, many do not. You don't see mallards, for instance, doing a lot of diving. That's a canvasback in the distance there, swimming. Well, no, not really moving along any longer. Right there. See the sloping of its head. It's not as rounded as that of a redhead, but the redhead, if a specific bird, an individual bird, has its head tucked in and you can't see its bill, and you just see some red, and you're not getting a good look because of distance or for some other reason. you know, you use whatever clues you can get, and some of the clues, the few clues that I remember, are that, or one of them is that you know, the canvas back will have a white to the sides, whereas the redhead has the gray. Right there, you see that? Oh, come on, don't tell me you tucked your head in. I'm just about to talk about you. Well, that one had a lot of white just, you know, at the base of the bill. And female ring-necked ducks can kind of look like that too. But if the head is all brown, I mentioned this last week, if the head is like more of a solid brown, then it's probably a scaup. I'm not sure if it's greater or lesser scaup. But the ring-necked duck will have, you know, while the head is generally brown, it's really more of a distinctive cap of brown on top of its head. So I think we've got scaups swimming there. There's no white spar, or however you want to describe it, on the sides of those males. So they're scaups. I have to admit, sometimes, maybe I shouldn't always blame, but I often like to blame my little screen and the fact that I don't have a really genuinely good look while looking at my screen at what we're seeing. So sometimes that is a factor in my you know, inability to identify some of the species. And I do find sometimes if I am looking over footage later on, and have the benefit of being able to, you know, pause the recording or look, you know, or slow it down, or certainly look at on a bigger screen. Sometimes I'll find things that you know, I didn't see originally when live. Who's that? Is that a bufflehead, or probably no? That looks like a female. I think it's a female ruddy duck. Turn this way so we can see you. Yes, that looks like a ruddy duck. Cute. They really are cute. Males and the females. Okay, let's move on. I'm going to keep everything in place. Hold on. I see in the air that's a duck of some sort. I thought it might have been something else, but it does not appear to be. I thought it might have been a double-crested cormorant, but it's not. Let's just take a quick look at some... Wait one second. I can see them well enough with binoculars. We just have a number of American widgeons and coots and gadwalls in the vicinity. So we're going to keep moving, just in the interest of saving time. days get dark, you know, pretty quickly. Now, if we get an opportunity to have a good look at something, then we'll take it. Like these two right here. It's a gadwall. The vegetation's going to get in the way, but that's a gadwall. I think they look elegant and beautiful. I am lightening it up a little bit because of the lighting. And, you know, we've seen gadwalls before on the tour, but it's nice to show you them if you haven't been on the tour for very long. And, you know, I keep referring to some of these species, and it's nice if you know what we're talking about. Yeah, yeah. You hear that? That's that kind of vocalization. Nah, those are the gadwalls. Like I said, I think they're beautiful birds. From a distance, you know, they're just brown ducks, but when you get a close look, you see some of the beautiful details of their feathers. They're really gorgeous. That's the female right there. And closer to us, that's a pied-billed grebe right there. We had a look at some last week, but let's see if we can get a closer look at this one. Again, we have vegetation in our way a little bit, so we're not getting a super clear look. That vegetation is getting to be a hassle. Let's go back out to some of the gadwalls, and then I think we'll move on. That is not a gadwall there. That in the center, that is an American widgeon, I believe. I think so. Yes. Okay. Hold on a second. Let me just look around a little bit with binoculars. Who's that? Okay, I think we're just going to move on. Oops. just check a couple things out. Okay, let's keep moving forward. We've seen in prior years when they've drained this particular pool where it's been completely dry. And it obviously makes a huge difference in what we see or don't see when they do that. I remember the last time when they did drain it, you know, we would see, for a while we were seeing Canada geese walking along, you know, not swimming, just walking, and that's all we would see really. We've been here in years when there were a lot of those, we at least believe they were, what are they called? The muskrats had built, you know, quite a few of their mounds or nests or whatever they were, and they were all over the place. Haven't seen that really in years, and you wonder if that's all because of what they did years ago to, you know, to drain and now and then allow to refill. And you wonder if that just affected things or what. Again, this looks like more of the same out there, pretty much. Mostly gadwalls and, well, those look like mostly American widgeons. I think it's a grebe. A grebe is not a duck, by the way, just as a reminder. Look like ducks. I don't know if they walk like ducks, but they are not ducks. You know, I've seen many ducks out of the water and, you know, doing some walking. I don't know if I've ever seen a pied-billed grebe out of the water. Completely out of the water. I mean, other than, like, you know, kind of, sort of on vegetation that's really floating on water or whatever, but never really walking. I've just felt a raindrop on my face, and I see a few on my windshield, so. And with the wind, it may be a problem, so let's keep moving along. What's that out there? Okay. As you know, or as you may recall, if you tuned in last week, I was upset with myself for not being outside of my car at East Road when we were looking at the Sandhill cranes in flight. And you might say, well, I kept complaining. These are common gallon wheels. I kept mentioning it, and you might wonder, why didn't I just, go ahead and, get out of the car and get things on a tripod? Well, there wasn't time. That's the issue. When something's flying around, you hate to miss it, and I'd hate to spend the time, getting set up and missing the activity. So that's why I was kind of stuck in the car. And, that happens often, actually, in one way or another. Very often I'll maybe it's not a matter of getting in or out of the car, but just wanting to switch cameras or make some sort of a change. And sometimes you just can't because there's not enough time. Or you're afraid there's not going to be enough time because something is about to happen or could happen at any moment. Alright, let me just leave it. I was going to switch cameras. But anyway, as I was, indicating, sometimes for instance, we've been on the campus, and it looks like, who knows when, and we could be watching a hawk that is perched, and about to move at any moment. We have reason to believe that it's about to, and you're kind of stuck. You don't dare make the change to, either walk to a better better viewing spot, or to make an equipment change, or do anything, because you're afraid that the hawk will take off. So here we have Canada geese. Let me just take a quick look with binoculars. Might be a teal here also, or two. Lighten it up. I think these are teals. Not sure what kind. Green-winged or blue-winged, I'm guessing green. Oh, that might be a blue-winged teal. No, who's that? That's a shoveler. Hey, shoveler, baby. The bill is very distinctive. Now, isn't that a cute goose? Really? I think they're green-winged teals. I'll admit, when it comes to green-winged teals, it's much easier for me to recognize the males when they're in breeding colors. that looks like a shoveler also, but I'm not sure if it's the one we already saw or not. Probably not. And I saw... Is that what I'm seeing? Yeah, I guess so. Okay. Looks like a mallard there, and 1 second. I know I'm jumping around a little bit, sorry. Looks like another teal there. Now, let's... Oh, my mirror is in the way. Hold on. Let's move forward. Oh, wait. Just before we do... Oh, you know what? No, never mind. I better stop right here. Okay. Let's see if we can look. Now, there are a number of Canada geese over here. Hey, you. Look over here, would you? I'm not sure what that is. That's a widgeon. These are widgeons here, so maybe that was another widgeon over here. Possibly. And that's a gadwall there. Oh, you know what? Maybe that was a gadwall over here. I don't know. That's my guess. Okay, I think I'm going to move on. Looks like mallards there in the background. I haven't seen those before. And that's just about it for this little spot here. I am going to switch cameras now. Blocked off? No, it's not. Although I wonder if it's worth driving up there because we haven't seen anything from up there in a while. ducks. I don't know what they are. 4 mallards. Come on. There we go. Make it 5 mallards. To our right, I see, looks like quite a few Canada geese and some gulls mixed in. A number of mallards also. I'll give you a look. This is through the windshield, but I'll give you a look anyway. We may not actually really stop in the viewing area because I don't see much of you know, anything out of the ordinary to look at. I think we're just gonna keep moving on. Hold on one second. Well, maybe not. I do see a shorebird of one sort or another. Well, I'm sure it's just one sort. Where is it? That's a green-winged teal right there, but that's not what I saw. Where's that shorebird? There it is. Well, I'm not sure what it is. I wouldn't mind a better look. So from here, we're going to try, and that means I need some time to set things up a bit. So bear with me. Need a minute or two to getting there. May have to move the car again. Because of the vegetation. Obviously has a very long bill. I wonder if that's maybe I'm not up on my shorebirds as I've mentioned before, but that I wish it'd stop moving. That may be a long. Is that a long-billed dowitcher? Would you hold still so we can look at you? Alright, I'm going to wait it out. I'm going to see if it maybe stops in one spot and then move the car accordingly. I've lost sight of it now. I can't see it. I don't know where it is. Well, maybe I do. And there may be more than one. Maybe not. I don't think these are the same species. Maybe they are. Their bills don't seem quite as long. I may be wrong about that though. Who just flew in? Probably Dunlins, which I can't get to right now because of where they are. Let's check in with you guys. Okay, it's now starting to rain. We're going to move on very, very shortly. But that's not a bad look. Okay. Let me get the window closed. And I'll switch cameras. Attend to things here. Could have really zoomed in. You know what? We're going to try that. And it's rainy and windy now. Okay, now some of these are I think we're looking at some Dunlins here. Maybe wrong about that, but obviously we have some ducks in here too. Okay, I'm going to button up the car here, and I am going to switch cameras again. Get things back to where they were before we started looking out that side. Where's that thing here? Where are you? Oh, there it is. Okay. when we look out the right side of the vehicle, like that, I mean, there are different challenges, and I have a setup for it, but it's, you know, it's harder to use in many ways. But I will say sometimes it has its real advantages. And actually just now, looking out the vehicle like that, yeah, I mean, obviously things got wet inside the car, but if it is windy or rainy, sometimes we can do things from within the car that, you know, people who aren't able to do that within the car and have to get out of the car, sometimes they can't see what we would be able to, you know, kind of see. If that didn't make sense, that's okay. It didn't make much sense to me either. The point is, sometimes we can continue looking around with a scope from within the car when other people would be stuck sitting in their cars not looking. So we have some rather unconventional equipment that we can use. But right now it's raining hard enough. I want to keep the windows closed, and it would be hard to see much anyway. And I'm not seeing much anyway. Forecast kept changing, so I don't know how much rain there's going to be, but it seems, at least right now, that it's already slowing down, although there's still some precipitation falling. My understanding is tomorrow's supposed to be worse, and I didn't really look at the forecast very well this morning for tomorrow. But yesterday, when I looked at the forecast for Sunday, I mean, there was talk about even some snow. Maybe nothing heavy, but it's just, you know, it is what it is. And it seems like it's still early in the year, but, you know, I mean, today's October 20th. I mean, it's not like it's, you know, September 1st. So, I mean, we're bound to have some of this, you know, colder weather, more wintry. To our left in this pool, we have maybe more waterfowl than we normally see, and let's see if we can take a look at least some of it, at least with this camera, without too many problems with rain. Hopefully. We have some widgeons. More widgeons. some gadwalls out there too. I've said, you know, I've wondered for a long time now, you know, these areas here along this stretch, I wondered, you know, would they become popular with the waterfowl? It hasn't, you know, in terms of seeing large flocks here, I haven't seen that myself. But, you know, it's maybe bound to happen. Hopefully, that means, you know, good looks for us. The only question I've had right along is how much vegetation would be blocking our view. It looks like it's mostly Wiggins with a few gadwalls mixed in. This kind of lighting here, by the way, although not sunny and beautiful, is what I really like. I mean, it's, you know, so often we've been here and had to struggle to see because everything was backlit by bright sunshine. Today, as right now anyway, and there's some areas that are brighter in the sky, but right now it's cloudy here, and it's kind of nice because it means, you know, a more even lighting. There's some Canada geese also. And mostly Wiggins, but some gadwalls also here and there. It's an alley back there. I don't know if I've actually shown you any great blue herons. I've seen at least 3 here myself today. Again, I'm not sure if I actually showed you any. There's a piebald grave near us. But you know, I haven't seen, and we had been seeing in prior weeks, you know, a number of great egrets here. We're not seeing those. I haven't seen those yet. And they would stand out given how white they are. Anyway, you know, it is getting late in the season, so great blue herons, great egrets. Our sightings are going to be, you know, much reduced from what they had been, just even not that many weeks ago, just a few weeks ago. And, it doesn't mean they're all going to be gone for the season just yet, but I still remember, a couple years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, having a tour on Thanksgiving Day, and I arrived home after the tour, and it started snowing there, but in my view there was a great blue heron that day. More Canada geese and gadwalls and widgeons, I think. Occasional gull. Oh, I see a heron. Hi, heron. Good to see you. Not the best look at a heron, great blue heron that we've ever had, but I'll take it. So I finally showed you a heron. It's starting to rain a little harder now again. It was nice last week we saw the swans, but so far no swans today. I may have missed them, but anyway. One thing to remember, the general pool is fairly large, but there are a lot of areas we just can't see because of the vegetation that grows within it. It's not as if I have a clear look all the way across. I wish I did sometimes. Now maybe, I do and I don't. I mean, if we had a clear view all the way across, maybe that would mean that many species wouldn't come around here because, they use that vegetation in one way or another. So be careful what you wish for. It's raining. those are mallards out there, unless they're possibly American black ducks, but I'm not sure. I think they might be American black ducks. Didn't look all that dark, but they had that kind of coloration and didn't quite look like mallard females. You know, I just saw, you know, you may have seen it too, the bald eagle figure. And, you know, I didn't pay it much attention, but I happened to notice the plaque in front of it, which says, you know, bald eagle, and I imagine to put the artist's name there too, but it said 2016, and it's just amazing how fast time flies, because it seemed like it was, you know, not long ago that it was put up, and to think it's already been, you know, more than 2 years. Well, looks like we're not going to see any great egrets here today on Wildlife Drive anyway. Quite honestly, you know, seeing the numbers of great egrets we saw in the last few weeks was rather surprising. Just given the time of year and everything, it just, maybe I'm wrong to be surprised, but I was. I gotta look at something. Okay. Up ahead of us, and it had stopped. Oh, I see some green-winged teals to our left. I don't want to startle them, but it includes some males in full breeding colors. Anyway, this vehicle ahead of us stopped and then even looked like it was backing up, so I wonder if they saw something. Maybe not. Okay, I think that is it for Wildlife Drive. One second, what is that? Do I see something? I do. Red-tailed hawk, by the looks of it. If anyone's keeping score, I would say that's a Wildlife Drive sighting, even though we're not on Wildlife Drive. Let me just have another look at it with binoculars. Anyway, it looks like a red-tailed hawk to me. Possibly a juvenile. Definitely cute. Hi, baby. If I can stop here. We'll give a one more quick look. See? Told you it was cute. Currently, the temperature is reading 50 degrees. When we started, I had said 57, but then again, I had, the car had been sitting there, and sometimes things, as I've told you before, can cool off after starting in terms of the thermometer reads, and it did. And it did just that. So currently reading 50. Not freezing, but not exactly warm either. I welcome you to East Road. So far, very quiet. I did see one bird fly down into some bushes or something, but I didn't get a good look at it, so I don't know what it was. just saw blue jay, I'm not sure though. I'm really looking to our left, not really looking to our right, but now I'm starting to look down into the marsh area. Don't see anything yet. Looks like the areas of open water are pretty well covered with birds. Let me give you a quick look from here, even though we won't be able to see very well. So we're seeing mostly Canada geese, but also there's some sandhill cranes there. That looks like a great blue heron back there. Remains to be seen if there are. I would probably need to look with binoculars. In fact, I'm going to do that right now. If there are large numbers, for instance, of sandhill cranes down there. I don't see large numbers of sandhill cranes down there. Okay. Let's keep going. With binoculars. Let's see what we're going to do here. I see a northern harrier in flight. Other than those, like, well, it seems like there are two sandhill cranes down there. That's all I see, and we already saw those with the other camera, or with the camera you're looking through, actually. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to leave and then maybe come back. Let's continue on East Road towards Armitage Road. I just want to see what's going down there, over there. I'll say this. If I had to bet money, I'd say nothing's going on over there. You know, because it seems like they cut down whatever cornfields or harvest the cornfields. Just a reminder, I may lose you here or there along the way, just because there's some spots that the signal is usually pretty weak. Looks like nothing's been harvested here yet. Oh, maybe not. Maybe some of it has. Yeah, it looks like they're in the process. They're in the process, which is good for us, although it doesn't mean necessarily anything yet today. But, you know, we've seen in the past. Let's pull over here so this truck that's behind us, if it's coming our way, can get by. But anyway, if in the past we've been here before and seen, you know, large flocks of Canada geese for certain, and maybe you know, maybe some other species, and you know, so who knows. This may be, you know, a place worthy of visiting again in the near future. I think last year it was not a good spot to visit. Just nothing ever seemed to materialize, and nothing ever seemed to be harvested. I wonder if we should try to find the sandhill crane unit again. I think I was on the right path last time around, but I just didn't go quite far enough. See some pigeons. Let's see if I can get us there without the GPS. Is this stupid? Yes. To pull over and engage the GPS at some point. We'll see. You know, in a way, traveling along East Road like we did, I wonder if I shouldn't have done that. If I should have gone back along East Road and then driven the longer way along the highway to get to where we were just now at Armitage, because sometimes I'll see some things along that route. Maybe we'll try it on the way back. Dicey. Oh, maybe not. By the way, not that I'm an expert in such things, but just in terms of the way the leaves are coloring up this year, I don't think we're going to have anything spectacular color-wise. It may not be as bad as last year, but I don't think it's going to be special. Maybe wrong. relative to where we had been before when we came here, I know where I am. So I think what we'll do is we'll, drive a little ways as we had before, and we'll see if we can see anything interesting. If not, we'll head right back. Saw a red squirrel running across the road. Saw a blue jay. Not sure if it was a red squirrel or not. It looked like a squirrel. Up ahead, there's a puddle of water, and there are 5 robins. 5 robins. 6, 7 robins all together in that area. And some of them are making use of that puddle to bathe. These robins look different. They may be young, but they just look different somehow. Like a more pronounced eye ring than I'm used to. This is all through the windshield, so we're not getting a great look, sorry. I wonder if these are migrants, and if they've, they're stopping here in the area. I may be wrong. I have no idea. And maybe from where they are, they look a little different. If that is the case, if that's what's going on. Y'all just took off, maybe because I moved a little bit. I don't know. But we'll move on and we'll leave the puddle to them. some of those looked young. You know, they weren't the more uniform color of full adults. So it could be that they're fairly young, some of them. But they just seemed a little bit different in color anyway. I don't know. Like I said, I mean, for all I know, those robins came from, you know, somewhere north of here, and maybe in that area they look different. Or they could just be looking different because of the lighting today. Who knows? Maybe they're not, you know, maybe they're from the area, actually. Obviously, this road is not great. It's not really, you know, covered with rocks or anything. It's deteriorated just since last we were here. I mean, I'd say noticeably. Now, in that van that we just passed, there's someone, he looks like he's looking out with either binoculars or through a camera, so maybe there's something worth seeing here. Maybe not. So far I don't see anything out of the ordinary. Let me look with binoculars a bit. I mean, there's some ducks out there. I'm not looking closely at any of them, but just give you a look. I mean, there may be significant numbers of ducks. It's hard to tell with the vegetation that is in the water, but see a lot of those mounds. I don't know if they're muskrat mounds or what they are, but there's something large in the air, way over yonder. I don't know what it is. And through the windshield like that is difficult for me to give you a look. It might come into view now. Where'd it go? I don't see it now. I don't know if it was an eagle or what. I'm going to set you down again. I'm going to look with binoculars. Maybe I can see it. I don't see it. Looks like an eagle. I believe we are on the right road. I don't know if this is considered the Sandhill Crane unit or not, but I believe we're on the right road, and we've been here before. I don't know, you know, if we've ever driven far enough. Any teals down there? 1 second. No, I don't think so. There are a lot of ducks out there. Oops, sorry. In total. I have a feeling for ducks, this is really a, a pretty good spot to stop. That looks like a green-winged teal there. But we've also, there's a widgeon. This is really the kind of spot that I think it would be better to get out of the car and like spend a lot of time here looking very closely, over areas and really doing like a real survey. I don't know if we have the time for that sort of thing. I don't know if I ever have the patience for such a thing. But I mean, that's really, that's the kind of thing that someone does, and they eventually discover that, oh, there was a grebe here, a special grebe or something like that. Or some rare, rarely rare visitor, I should say. I don't know how the fishing is here, for eagles, for instance, but quite a few ducks, so maybe that helps to draw eagles and other birds of prey here. I don't know. So anyway, we are on the Van Dyne or Van Dien, probably Van Dyne, Spoor Road. And I don't know how far this goes before it actually ends. And we're not in a, well-paved area, but so far, I mean, it's not too bad. I think we're going to probably turn around and go right back very shortly. I don't know if I was necessarily expecting to see sandhill cranes here, for instance. In fact, now that I think about it, probably wouldn't. But maybe there are times of the year when it is good for that. I don't know. You see ducks in the water and everything, and you have to remember, like sandhill cranes, I mean, as far as I know, they don't feed in water. They may appreciate the water, but they don't seem to feed in it. And just like, Canada geese, you think of them as waterfowl, but they don't feed in the water. They generally, I mean, sometimes you'll see them eating something, but most of their feeding is, on dry ground. At least, from the Canada geese that I see. You'll see Canada geese. Oh, what's that? Is that hold on one second. Maybe there's nothing. I see a couple spots of white out there. I think they're nothing. Oh, maybe they're... Could they be snow geese? I don't know. Maybe not. Doesn't seem to be moving. Either one. What was I saying? I mean, you'll see with Canada geese, they feed on dry ground, and I believe the same is true of sandhill cranes. There's a fly in my car. Get out of my car. Out of my car. Anyway, now we're really seeing dead end signs here, and maybe there's no road to go any further. Is that a grebe right on there? Looks like one. Okay, I think we're going to turn around. Let's look over here for one moment. Looks like a swan. And that looks like a swan. Okay, let's turn around and head back. Don't know if this is the sandhill crane unit, but and it might be. I don't know. And I wasn't necessarily expecting to see sandhill cranes here today, to be honest with you. I see something maybe of interest in the air. I lost sight of it because of the trees. Hold on. Might just be crows, but what's that? Come on. Could that be a merlin? Lost sight of it. Shoot. Starlings or maybe red-winged blackbirds flying around, and I was wondering if maybe if the merlin if it was a merlin, had been after them, but I don't see that. At least, well, I don't see it anyway. Okay. I think if we come here again, and we very well might, I think the thing to do is to come through, turn around, and then look out, the driver window, so that we can look at things more closely. It's just easier for me. quite a few ducks here, but I'm not seeing, you know, any cranes or even any great blue herons. I do wonder what the person in the van is looking at. If there's anything really special, or never know. See the person in the van just now, so I don't know, maybe he is in the back of the van, or maybe he left the van. I don't know. In a way, it would be nice to have a van, larger windows and things like that. See that puddle up ahead. I just saw a chipmunk run across the road, but I don't see any robin activity. I hope they weren't frightened away because of me. Still don't see any robins. I thought I saw that puddle already. That was a good one. Whoa! That'll wake you up. There's a red squirrel. Okay, so I'm almost positive I saw a red squirrel the first time around. Not only are those railroad tracks kind of bumpy to drive over, but, you know, since I try to lift my feet when driving over railroad tracks, and there are two sets of tracks there, it's not so easy. So I think we'll go back to East Road. But you know, we're going to go, yeah, we're not going to go, we're not going to follow the same route we took to get here. We're going to, you know, in terms of driving, we'll take the longer way, so we can drive through an area where we did not go through the first time on the way out, just in case. We didn't, obviously, as we drove out there, we didn't see many birds. I could have done a better job, I think, showing you, you know, the ducks that were there, for instance. In a way, I didn't want to take the time to look at them. And who knows, maybe we missed out on something that I would have really appreciated seeing. I don't know. But still, it's kind of nice to take the ride out just to see what we might be able to see. And, you know, I did look with binoculars. I didn't, right off the bat, I didn't see anything particularly exciting. But like I said, maybe I missed something, you know. Very easy to miss something when there's so many individual birds out there. But, you know, now that I'm more comfortable now driving there, I think I know where I'm going. Assuming that is a sandhill crane unit, even if it's not, it does look to be, you know, an interesting, you know, type of ecosystem that might draw, you know, significant birds. And maybe, for instance, maybe in the spring, that's a great place to visit. I really don't know. I never went there until I think it was August or early September. Gone there before. But maybe in the spring it might be really maybe a great place to go. For me, it's interesting because I'm not one to necessarily explore areas. So if I do any exploring, sometimes I just enjoy it. So, like I said, we're going to take a longer route to get back to our viewing area on East Road. So instead of turning up here right onto East Road, we're going to pass right by the road and take the longer route, just so I can see some of these other areas. Normally I would take a left right here, but we're going to go straight just a little ways. And then most likely turn around. You know what, maybe we won't bother to go straight. Yeah, we're just going to take a left right here. indicated I might go, you know, before, but just for a very short distance. I've never actually driven very far along that route. I wonder if it would be worth it sometimes. So we'll take a left here, and we're now heading towards East Road again. Welcome again to the East Road. I was thinking, you know, many times during this week, how last week I wish I had been out of the car, you know, when we were here, using a tripod, set up on a tripod. And I was thinking, well, this week I won't make that same mistake. I just may make the same mistake, or maybe it won't be a mistake this time, because, you know, if we don't see sandhill cranes, just one or two, maybe it's not worth getting set up, you know. So let me look down there again with binoculars, see if I hear a lot of Canada goose localizations. I wonder if many Canada geese just flew in, or I don't know. I don't even see the sandhill cranes that we saw before. I'll give you a look, but I think we're going to move right on. I'm sorry to say. I mean, there's some ducks here. I don't know what they are, to be honest with you, but it's mostly Canada geese. But generally walking in one direction. I wonder if there's going to be a big takeoff. Maybe not. Now, I had seen a few moments ago through binoculars, one second, I had seen a few geese in the air, just like 4 or 5. And I wonder if maybe the geese on the ground were calling to them or not, or who knows. But there's really not much activity here. Maybe it's not worth staying at all.